has been to the Sweet 16, seeking rather their 5th Sweet 16 in the last 7 trips to the NCAA tournament. Meanwhile, Virginia has not been there since the year 2000. Only one can get there. Our officials, Cameron Inouye, Natasha Kamey, Maggie Tiemann, let's dance from Iowa City. And right away, it's Johnson drawing contact. And 2 shots for the Virginia star.
The attention defensively will be on Kimora Johnson. The defense isn't set up and she attacks it. She's very good at making a read when you make a mistake and making you pay. She's a 3-level scorer and already kind of catching this Iowa defense sleeping.
Felt like in the win on Saturday against Georgia, in which she had a game-high 28, we really saw those 3 levels of scoring on display.
Yeah, and she can also pass the ball. She led the ACC in assists, so she's going to drive with her head up.
Chit-chat right. They want to see more 3-point attempts from Iowa's best 3-point shooter without Taylor McCabe. They've been without her for about 2 months, of course. One of the program's best 3-point shooters with a season-ending ACL tear. Johnson, step back 3. Foul on the rebound attempt by Samaya Smith. Battle of the boards will be very interesting today. Virginia led the ACC, of course, in rebound margin, but this is one of the best and biggest fronts they will have taken on all year in Iowa.
Yeah, huge key to the game for Iowa, boxing out and keeping them off the offensive glass. Possessions is an important battle here.
Inside Hayden had 10 early points yesterday and traveled on her first touch of the afternoon.
Decisive, intentional defense from Virginia. 2 big bodies come and send that double right on Hayden. And she actually spins into the defense. And notice the hands up, a point of emphasis. Defend without fouling. Do not swipe down.
Paris Clark with the basketball, a 3-year starter for UVA. Johnson had that ball tipped. It'll stay here with 14 to shoot. Virginia's 21 wins, the most since the 2018 season, which was the last time the Hoos made the big dance. They have exceeded all outside expectations to this point. Smith with 5, dumps it into Amanze, defended well by Stolke, and the Iowa senior corrals. Right, inside Hayden, backs it in.
The positioning that Hayden gets, she is so in deep. Before the pass is even thrown, she works really hard to set that up, and this time going baseline, avoiding the double team. Quick, smart read.
Johnson defended by Feuerbach, an all Big Ten defensive teamer. And she spills her into Chit-Chat Right, drawing the charge.
That's a really nice heads-up defensive play from Chit-Chat Right, coming over early and getting that charge. Right now, what Kimora Johnson is seeing defensively is crowds, waves. Now you're making her think.
Stremlo 3. Iowa was just 1 for 13 from downtown on Saturday in a game in which they felt tight, according to Jan Jensen, the 2nd-year head coach at Iowa, who's been part of 5 runs to the Sweet 16 as an assistant coach. Really wanted her team to come in today with dropped shoulders, relaxed and excited for the moment. Smith. Baseline off the side of the backboard, had 23 points in Saturday's win. Deep post feed for Stolke. There's Stremlo, down to Hayden. This time left hand rims out. Amanze with a board. And a whistle will go against the sophomore, Ava Hayden.
And that's a tough foul because her presence on the court is more valuable than any type of play she would have made on the ball so far away. Like, she knows her value, and she's got to be smart with the fouls right there. Not a good one.
0 for 3 start from the floor for Virginia. Their lone 2 points at the foul line. Amanze almost lost it. Clark knocks in an open three. One of 3 Virginia seniors that don't want their careers to end in Iowa City today. Stolke back out, Feuerbach 3, responds. Johnson off the pick. Almanze fighting with Hayden in the low post. Johnson pops and rims it out. Stremlow full head of steam. Rebound Paris Clark, who's playing with pace. Backdoor feed Johnson. Picked by Stremlow. Up ahead, Hayden, catch and finish. To shoot for Clark. Pushes it into Almanze, draws the foul, and one. Chance at the three-piece for the Princeton transfer.
Coach Mox called Tabitha Almanze an X-factor in this game. Paris Clark does a nice job of drawing the defense, but actually it's a really tough pass. She catches Ava Hayden, not aware of her defender and the ball. Almanze made a great catch and then finished there. An important play because honestly, Iowa had momentum and defensively we're doing a good job of keeping players in front and then keeping them one and done, boxing out and not allowing offensive rebounds. So Virginia really bailed out with a nice play there.
Hayden goes to the bench with 2 fouls. Early storyline here in Iowa City. So it's Stolke. Still no points for the Who's leading scorer, Kimora Johnson. Almanze catch and shoot, deep 2 off the front end.
0 offensive boards for Virginia. Iowa's boxing out, they're grabbing that defensive rebound and pushing the pace.
And a travel will give it right back to Virginia. Very interesting start. Virginia was 7 early points despite making just 2 field goals, none of which coming from their leading scorer. A concerted defensive effort from Iowa.
Yeah, they're working hard on Kimora Johnson, but what I am seeing is the focus on defending without fouling, which is a key to the game for the Virginia bigs. One thing that Virginia has to handle Ava Hayden is depth of bigs. They have a diversity of post players that they can run right at Ava Hayden.
Hi again, everybody. Thanks to those of you joining us now on ESPN after a thrilling victory for Louisville. Matt Schumacher, Rosgold Onwude, the former Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year at Stanford. Such an intriguing matchup between these 2 teams. Iowa, despite being a young program, has a lot of expectation. And on the other side, feels like Virginia's playing with house money, already 2 wins in this tournament.
Yeah, playing in the first 4 was good for Virginia. This is a team that hasn't been in the tournament in 8 years. And so it was an accomplishment just getting in, and then they had to do it from the first 4. But now's a chance where they can get greedy, and they feel like a team that can do the unthinkable here, but, get the upset. And Iowa, even though the program Iowa has been very successful, this is the youngest roster in 13 years for Iowa. So this is a bunch of young players that are still learning who exactly they are and what it takes to be great. And they've exceeded a lot of expectations.
Three sophomores in the Iowa starting lineup. And we now welcome those of you joining us from the Louisville site. Congrats to the Cards moving on to the Sweet 16. We welcome you to Iowa City, Iowa, home to 2-seed Iowa Hawkeyes taking on 10-seed Virginia out of the ACC. Hi again, everybody. Matt Schumacher, Roz Gold-Onwude with you. And Roz, this Virginia team with 21 wins, most since the 2018 season, which was the last time they made the big dance. Playing with some momentum, playing with an underdog mentality against an Iowa team that is young, but experienced in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, this Iowa team, they've exceeded some expectations because of the amount of youth that they have. The youngest team they've had in 13 years, but they're very talented, and they get it done, starting with a breakout sophomore in Ava Hayden inside. Then on the other side for Virginia, their coach, Coach Mox, told them today, why not us? This is the last double-digit seed in the women's tournament right now that had to make their way to this second-round game via the first four. They're in rhythm. They're feeling free and frisky.
And now time for today's slam dunk matchup brought to you by Wendy's. It's the #2 scorer in the ACC behind Hannah Hidalgo, Kimora Johnson, against the great sophomore post, Ava Hayden.
Yeah, you got a guard and a post here. Kimora Johnson, all good things for Virginia happen when she's got the ball in her hands. And they're going to put it there. She makes a lot happen for her own basket, 3-level scorer, and also a great creator for her teammates. Now, Ava Hayden, she's the big girl, a sophomore who's broken out this year. Strong, cerebral, and really works for positioning inside, deep in the paint. You really got to do your work early against her.
If you are just joining us on E1, Hayden is on the bench with 2 fouls as we take a look at the Virginia starting lineup brought to you by Capital One. 3 of these 5 players played over 42 minutes in their first-round victory against Georgia on Saturday. And the Hoos with a 2-point lead. Feuerbach off the mark with a 3 for an Iowa starting 5 that managed just 1 made triple in their near scare against 15th seed FDU on Saturday. Feels like they're a little bit more settled in this highly competitive matchup against Virginia. Jan Jensen told us she felt some tightness from her Iowa Hawkeyes in a game that was 2 points with 5 minutes to go on Saturday against FDU.
Well, at practice yesterday, Coach Jensen actually sent her Iowa team home 45 minutes left in practice. She ended the practice early and just wanted them to have the rest of the day off. Had told them to get back to the joy, the feeling free, and just enjoying the moment of being here today.
Hannah Stolke, the senior from right here in Iowa. 3-time All-Big Ten recipient, coming off her 8th double-double of the season. Samaya Smith. Entry pass foul on Stolke, trying to get it down to Weimer. And that is the 4th on the Hawkeyes. 1 more Virginia in the bonus.
But you know, we were coming back to what Coach Jensen told us about sending the team home early yesterday. She also told them to write in her gratitude journal. They have a gratitude journal in their playbook, and she wanted them to write 3 things they're grateful for. And just to keep today light, remember the joy, the gratitude, and take away some of the pressure and tightness that they felt in that first-round game.
Speaking of pressure, Johnson has felt it from every angle and every Iowa defender to start. Still no points on the floor for Virginia's leading scorer. Meanwhile, Paris Clark has a pair of steals. And back the other way for the Hoos. Smith cannot bank it in. First offensive rebound for Virginia. It's Weimer with the putback despite all of the contact underneath.
I think what sets that up, though, is offense created by defense. Virginia was able to beat the defense down the court before it could set up, and that put Iowa out of position, and they were able to get an offensive rebound.
Journey Houston, freshman floater, no. Stolke offensive board. Chit-chat right, a 3. And Samaya Smith playing in her 13th NCAA tournament game with a rebound. Air-mailed pass from Johnson.
But I like the energy of it from Kimora Johnson. She's trying to push the pace. I think pace is going to be helpful for Virginia because so far, when Iowa has had a chance to set up their half-court set defense, they've been keeping Virginia in front. They've been frustrating Kimora Johnson a little bit, and they've been boxing out hard.
Johnson's lone 2 points at the free throw line. Chit-chat right with a high archer. And an offensive foul will go against Weimer. And it's back to the Hawkeyes.
Weimer on the handoff gets called on this charge with the screen.
Wright thought about it. Still no threes in the game for Iowa. 15 to shoot. Hawkeyes still playing without Ava Hayden on the bench with 2 fouls. That was partially blocked by Levy. And back the other way. Clark finding Johnson. Levy tries a 3. Feuerbach cross-court pass. Stremlo. Good offensive rebound, Journey Houston. Wright floater. Stokey again. Wright reloads and knocks it in. Deep 2. Double team comes. Houston knocks it loose. 6th turnover on Virginia. Wright lost it. Clark almost stole it. Feuerbach tries a 3. Cleared by Clark. 5 seconds up to Levy. Gonna beat the buzzer. Yes! With the lay-in. And we're tied at 13 at the end of the first quarter in Iowa City. A trip to the Sweet 16 on the line. Only one can go. Back after this. We have had tremendous matchups in the last 2. 10 versus 2. Meetings in this building. Of course, back in 2022, Creighton shocked the world, a double-digit seed taking down Iowa. That was the last Iowa loss in this building in the NCAA tournament. They would come back the next year and make a run to the Final Four. TCU handled business in Fort Worth. They have advanced to the Sweet 16. The winner of Virginia and Iowa will meet them there. And 4th-year head coach Amaka Agugwa-Hamilton trying to bring Virginia to a Sweet 16 for the first time since 2000.
Her outfit she's wearing is significant. Ankara outfit representing her culture and heritage as a Nigerian. It was important to represent for her culture, she said, on a big stage.
The biggest stage the Who's women's basketball program has been on since 2018. Still no Ava Hayden to start the second quarter. Picked up 2 early fouls in the first. Stokey, extra pass, and Journey Houston beats the horn.
And right now you're seeing Gabby White bringing the ball up. It pushes Kimora Johnson off, maybe taking a little bit of pressure off of her. She's got 4 of the team's 6 turnovers. 0 for 3 in this game is Kimora Johnson to start. It's been very tough defense against her.
Levy, floater no. Last touch by Virginia. It'll be Iowa ball. How can the Who's get Kimora Johnson going? Remember, this is a young lady that was 2nd in the ACC in scoring this year, nearly 20 a game.
Well, you've already seen one adjustment, bringing Gabby White in off the bench and to allow her to push Kimora Johnson off the ball and maybe use her more as just a scorer, not having to set everything up and have the ball dribbling in her hands the whole time.
Chit-chat right likes the ball in her hands. And Journey Houston has another putback for Iowa.
High impact minutes for Journey Houston in the paint and deep against the big size of Virginia. Come in the game and be ready to execute your assignment.
Johnson left open. Long with the three. Weimer offensive board and the putback. Had a double-double in their first 4 victory against Arizona State on Thursday. Zip pass. Houston in and out. Almost tapped back in. Amanze clears. The freshman for Virginia running the point. Her mother on the coaching staff in North Carolina gives it to Levy. Weimer offensive board.
Well, right now you're seeing Iowa has now shifted into a zone defense. It's allowing Kamora Johnson not to have quite as much physical ball pressure on her, and it's also hard to rebound out of a zone defense. And now you're seeing Virginia start to get on the offensive glass.
Here's Chit-Chat right. Back out Strenlow, Feuerbach. Still no threes from Feuerbach, and just 1 in the game for Iowa. Weimer knocks down a baseline 2.
So far, Virginia has found success and a little bit of poise now against the zone switch-up defensively from Iowa.
Which is something the Iowa Hawkeyes have rarely run defensively this year in the Big Ten. Wright responds with a 2.
Yeah, Iowa.
Chet Wright with 6 early points.
Iowa normally runs their player-to-player defense. They were working on it in practice yesterday. They were trying to figure out some different ways to be disruptive, but it's tough to learn a defense quickly, and it's also, again, really hard to rebound out of a zone sometimes, and that's one thing Virginia does very well.
Travel on the Hoos, their 7th turnover. And now Ava Hayden will come back onto the floor for the first time since midway through the first.
Tabitha Amanze dribbling into traffic. Not a great decision for the big girl right there. Might want to pass it out and then set up her seal or set up her movement behind the zone.
Hayden battling with Amanze in the post. Now will come up to set a screen. Stolke draws a bump from Amanze. That's her first. Affectionately known as Coach Mox, has this program back in the big dance for the first time since 2018, though she is no stranger. Twice took Missouri State to the big dance. Would have been 3 times had it not been for COVID, including a trip to the Sweet 16. Zipped into Hayden, the double comes, and that is the 2nd foul on Caitlin Weimer. Foul trouble was an issue for Virginia in their first round victory against Georgia. Had 2 post players foul out in that game that went overtime.
You've really got to work on doing your work early. You want to get the right angles defensively. A huge key to the game for Virginia is defending without fouling. And Ava Hayden puts pressure on you with how deep she likes to get.
For the 6th straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com. Hayden drills them both. Coming off a career-high 29 points in the victory over 15-seed FDU, a 1-point Iowa lead. Amanze rips it over the top of Hayden, tapped out by Samaya Smith, and there was a whistle in there. And it will go against Smith, and that's number 2 on the LSU transfer. And now she has to come right back out after just checking back in. And a dang ring. The sophomore will come in her spot.
She's just jumping right over the head of Feuerbach. A little bit out of control right there. And again, just understanding your value on the court versus unforced errors like that.
Remember, Samaya Smith had a huge game against Georgia, 23 points. 2-on-2. If White pushes, does, and a jump ball is called, and it'll stay with Virginia.
Chit Chat Wright has had an incredible start to this game. Defensively getting back, being disruptive. Offensively coming out and being aggressive and assertive for her shot. The ball was brought down to where Chit Chat could get it, and she mucked up the play. She is someone that the entire team is asking for more from because they know she has a lot to give.
We were at the Iowa practice yesterday. Jan Jensen stopped it, looked right at Chit Chat and said, I need NCAA tournament Chit Chat. Who else is with me? And the rest of the team echoed that sentiment.
She said, who's tired of passive Chit Chat? Who wants to see kick butt Chit Chat? And the whole team started clapping and screaming, you know, and it's good for a player to know your teammates believe in you.
Here she comes with the basketball, the first-year transfer from Georgia Tech, where she came off the bench on a run to the NCAA tournament. This year, the starting point guard, and she turned it over. A 1-point game in Iowa City. 4:26 to go in the opening half. Iowa with a slight edge. Taylor, it's come down to the wire in every game we've had here in Iowa City, it feels like. And the 4th game, probably no different. Matt Schumacher, Roz Goldenwude with you. It's been an interesting feeling out process, Roz, in the first half. You played in a lot of NCAA tournament games. 3 trips to the Final Four with Stanford. What do you remember about games as a player where maybe there wasn't as much offense early and there was that feeling out back and forth?
Yeah, it means possessions really matter, you know, because it's going to come down to that down the stretch. And you've got Virginia right now that has 7 turnovers in this game. But one way they've gotten it back is on the offensive glass. They've been able to get 7 points off of that. And especially while your star player in Kamora Johnson hasn't found it yet, they've been getting other contributions in the roster, and that's key.
And for Virginia, they're 2 starting bigs, Amanze and Smith, on the bench with 2 fouls. Meanwhile, Iowa's star post player is in with 2. And now they have checked Amanze back in for Virginia.
Well, coming off the bench for Virginia, speaking of bigs, Caitlin Weimer has been excellent for them. 4 for 4 off the bench.
Here's Amanze, just checked back in with those 2 fouls and knocks down the baseline jumper against the zone.
I like the way Amanze has started this game. She only has 1 foul. That was key for her. She's had a lot of foul trouble in the 2 games they've played so far.
Yes, I beg your pardon. It's Weimer on the bench with 2, Smith on the bench with 2, and Amanze playing with 1.
And right there, she did it again. Defense against Hayden, who's trying to get deep position. But look, she turns into a double team that's 6'3", 6'4", and up. That's a big double down there. Watch the 2 bigs for Virginia. This is a team that's #1 in the nation for shot blocking. They said, forget the block. We don't want you to foul. Go hands up, wall up. And that's exactly it.
Knocks down a 3. A rare triple for a 27% three-point shooter and a 4-point lead for Virginia. Stolke through the double team. Wild shot, got her own miss. Shot clock did not reset. Stremlo 3. Ball still jarred around, and Journey Houston has been a spark plug off the bench for Iowa.
I'm seeing a lot of concentration from Virginia, though, defensively. They are working to wall up, defend, trap on the post, and keep their hands high without fouling. They've been able to muck up a few plays now and get deflections.
Almost a 5-second count. That was raked out of bounds by Ring.
Ring's had good minutes off the bench. She's come into the game, understood the assignment. I'm going to double hard. I'm keeping my hands straight up. I'm boxing out, and I'm trying to get the rebound.
played 8 minutes against Georgia because of the foul troubles. The most minutes she had played since mid-February.
She's 6'5". Like, her length makes a difference in the paint. And especially when she's the person coming to double, it's huge.
Houston back out right, 3. There's been a lid on the rim from deep for Iowa. They're now 1 for 12. Ring again. Stolke doubled, looking for a backdoor cut, instead was fouled, and Coach Mox doesn't like the call.
That was the first time I saw Amanze be undisciplined, swiping down at the ball. The talking points at practice were hands straight up, and she gets called on the foul.
Well, Virginia has already bucked one trend in this tournament by winning their first round game. Just the second team out of the first 4 in the history of this tournament to win their second NCAA game. Now trying to be the higher seed in the first to win in the second round of this tournament. Good rebound by Amanze.
Amanze and Ring have been incredible in the paint. The two of them reading, talking, communicating, and coming over quick. Either one on the double. It's been really great interior defense.
Johnson, deep 3. Oh, yeah. Her second triple. And the largest lead for Virginia leads to an Iowa timeout.
Now Johnson's starting to feel it right now. This is a key moment to respond for Iowa.
8-0 Virginia run. Johnson feeling it from downtown. Welcome back to Iowa City. The Virginia defense holding Iowa to a 3-minute, 51-second scoring drought. It's allowed them to get out to their largest lead of the game. Matt Schumacher, Raz Golden-Wude with you. And all year long, Virginia has had this motto: grind now, shine later. It flipped, Raz, when we got to March. Grind now, shine now, because the time is now in March Madness.
You know, Virginia has 8 newcomers, 7 transfers, 1 freshman on their team. So establishing a culture was really important. And this is something that they say after every huddle, after every practice: grind now, shine later. Of course, it's shine now in March Madness. But they talk a lot about giving, the concept of being a giving teammate. They talk about what it means to be together. And it starts with Coach Mox, honestly. Like, putting everyone on the same page. She crushed the transfer portal. And now this is a team that very much believes that they don't even talk about being an underdog or underseed in this game. They believe they can come out and just execute what they've been doing all season. And it starts with culture.
Coach Mox took over a program that the year before she got there won just 5 games. Now they've won 21 games, most since 2018. 11 of those coming in an uber competitive ACC that sent 9 teams to the big dance. Those 11 league wins, the most since the 1999-2000 team, which was the last time the Hoos made the Sweet 16.
She's got a track record of turning things around, of having players believe in her vision and then executing it, coming together and buying in. And right now, this Virginia program, a very legacied one, is building it back up and trying to get back there.
Virginia has been to 12 Sweet 16s as a program, 3 Final Fours, featuring, of course, the great Dawn Staley and so many others that brought this program to national prominence.
And actually, head coach Debbie Ryan of those Final Four teams, she's here. She's been with the team. She's at practice with them, supporting them, and also a big advocate for Coach Mox.
Bierbach gets it out of traffic, flipped up right. Iowa needing a bucket here. Gone 4 minutes without a field goal. They go inside to Hayden. Left hand won't go, and the rebound cleared by Ring.
This is a tough challenge for Ava Hayden, the sophomore. There's so much different types, diversity of size for Virginia. And right now, Amanze is very physical and strong, matching what Hayden can bring.
Ring into Amanze. Hayden well defending. Still just the 1-3 for this Iowa team. Right in the paint, and the floater is good, and that stops a 5-minute scoring drought for the Hawkeyes. And now the shot clock turned off for Virginia to close the first half. Johnson with 5. Johnson with 3. Tapped by Stremlo. Great defense by the Hawkeyes to close the first half. A 5-point Virginia lead in a defensive first half for these two programs. 1 half down, 1 to go. A trip to the Sweet 16 on the line. Taylor, take it away. 53rd consecutive home sellout at Carver Hawkeye Arena. It's halftime here in Iowa City. 5-point lead for the 10th seed Virginia Cavaliers over 2-seed Iowa. Hi again, everybody. Matt Schumacher, Rosgold on Wude. Really defensive first half. Not sure what you were expecting. I expected a little bit more offense. Certainly Kimora Johnson, though, for Virginia, felt like settled into a rhythm late in that first half.
Well, she started off against a player-to-player defense, and that was tough for her. But when Iowa shifted to the zone, that's when she got some rhythm and freed up for these threes. Because in the game, she's got 5 turnovers, but she's battling back and found it against the zone. But where Virginia has been excellent has been defensively. Against Ava Hayden, Virginia has so much size and strength. They can deal with her trying to position in low, and they've been really focused on defending without fouling. Coming over, hands high, not swiping down. Tabitha Amanze is 6'4". Adang Ring is 6'5". Samaya Smith is 6'2". Like, they're really able to crowd her.
And a whistle on Tabitha Amanze. That's number 2. So now 3 Virginia bigs with 2 fouls. They really clamped down on Hayden. Of course, she didn't play much in the first quarter. Picked up 2 quick fouls. 3-point shooting still well below the standard for Iowa. Like we saw yesterday, they were 1 for 13 against FDU, 1 for 12 in the first half, and Levy has a pick 6.
Those are the types of blue-collar, extra effort, hustle plays that Romy Levy brings to this team and is absolutely and has been an X factor in this tournament for Virginia.
That 14 points, 5 steals, and lockdown second half D against Georgia. Chit-chat right. Just the second 3 in the game for Iowa. Johnson, backdoor Levy, goes baseline. Clark inside to Amanze, and there was a travel, but boy, a lot of contact in there on the initial pass. Coach Mox can't believe it.
I am just as confused. It looks like Ava Hayden is pushing backwards on Tabitha Amanze. I was expecting to see a foul call, but that call is crucial because it brings Amanze to the bench. She's been terrific with her strength and concentration against Ava Hayden.
Deep post catch for Hayden. Stolke got it back. Stremlo 3. Stolke again, the offensive board. And Coach Mox calls a timeout for Virginia.
You see that fire. It's coming from the senior, Stolke, chipping away with blue-collar heads-up plays, rebounds, baskets inside. This is her final game at Carver Hawkeye Arena as a senior, and she does not want it to end here. Big offensive rebound to buoy her team.
Welcome back to Iowa City. Hawkeyes down 2 after a couple of quick buckets, including a putback by Hannah Stolke, the native Iowan, former Miss Basketball in the state. Grew up coming to all the Iowa women's basketball camps. Made 2 runs to the Final Four with Caitlin Clark and company.
Yeah, right now in this game, she's got 7 rebounds, 4 assists, some huge buckets. And this is somebody who was part of those big runs of the past and now is playing alongside 9 underclassmen. So she tells me, I spoke to her at practice yesterday. She was talking about trying to communicate what it takes to these young players. After games, she'll send them text messages, or even yesterday she took a teammate to breakfast. But she said, Roz, ultimately, they've just got to feel it. There's nothing I can say that'll compare to actually feeling what this experience is.
She has played over 3,000 minutes in her career and has a steal of Samaya Smith. Good backdoor feed, Stremlo extra pass, Hayden knocks it down, tied at 30. Johnson floater, no. And cleared away by Stolke, who had a season-high 16 boards in the win against 15-seed FDU on Saturday. It was a game dominated by Iowa's posts because of the size discrepancy. And Jan Jensen told us, you know, even though we felt the tension, we ended up weathering the storm. I was really proud of my ladies for that on the precipice of a potential historic upset. Stolke again, a menace on the boards, throws it away back to Virginia.
And you'll notice Iowa has come back out here in a player-to-player defense. They've gotten out of that zone, and it's Kylie Feuerbach, who is known for her defense. She's got the assignment of Kimora Johnson. She is determined. She's got a great motor defensively, and she's long. She's 6 foot versus Kimora Johnson's 5'7".
Johnson with 8 first-half points, had a couple of threes and 2 made free throws. Here's Amanze. Feeds to Clark, who has been uber consistent as a 3-year starter for Virginia.
Amanze avoids the charge here, but it's Paris Clark who doesn't just watch the play. You can't stand and watch. You've got to continue to move without the ball. And the defense was sleeping. She got right to the heart of the paint for a jumper.
She has scored in double figures in 3 of the last 6 games. Has had very impactful minutes throughout this NCAA tournament run, featuring 2 wins, one over ASU and one over Georgia. 5 to shoot for Feuerbach. Now Stremlo with 2. Knocks down 3. Johnson hoist. The rebound, Stolke. Well, that is a tough matchup for Johnson against Kylie Feuerbach, known for her defense on the All-Big Ten defensive team. Counting in the foul for Hayden.
Hayden able to make a quick, decisive move towards the rim. Before any double team can come, she goes baseline. It's also the position that she's able to set up inside. Right there, catches the D sleeping.
A 13-2 Iowa run, and now this crowd of 14,300 plus on their feet. Levy slips inside. Weimer just missing out on a 3-point play opportunity. Will get 2 shots.
Weimer is a player who has had so many injuries in her career. It almost kept her from playing basketball, but she kept fighting back. She's not quite as mobile and athletic as she used to be, but she's super fundamental and very efficient near the rim.
Well, coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship continues on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. For tournament games and networks, go to ncaa.com. Iowa men's basketball reaching the Sweet 16 for the first time since 1999 after knocking off Florida last night. Here's Stokey, left hand somehow double clutched and put it down. Clark picked by Chit-Chat Wright. Stremlo zips, Hayden rolls it in.
Run, Ava, run. Now it's a couple times we've seen in this game where Ava Hayden at 6'5" will run her tail down that court. It was a foot race to the box. She got down to the block in deep position and put Tabitha Amanze in foul trouble again. It's the hustle that busts her tail to get down there. Whoa.
Amanze will go to the bench with 4 fouls. Ava Hayden, such a tough assignment. First team All Big Ten as a sophomore, honorable mention All-American. Has 11 points. Kamora Johnson has been quiet for the Hoos, picked by Feuerbach. And a late whistle.
Defense. It's that Iowa defense right now that has changed this game. Deflection, steals, defense creating offense, and certainly a whole lot of momentum.
18-4 run for the Iowa Hawkeyes has them out to their largest lead of the game at 7. 41-34. Matt Schumacher, Rosgold Onwude with you. The Iowa Hawkeyes defense, and particularly their guard play on the perimeter, has really flipped the script in the third quarter.
The guard play has gotten active with their hands and their feet. Chit-Chat Wright has been able to get a steal. Same for Kylie Feuerbach. And with Kylie Feuerbach, it's not only just steals. Some of her work, those are the intangibles you might not see in the box score. She's 6 foot, and she's got the assignment against 5'7" Kamora Johnson. She has such a great tenacity about her, and plus her length and willingness to work on defense. It's been very disruptive for Kamora Johnson in the moments where Iowa's in that man-to-man defense versus the zone.
Iowa has forced 12 Virginia turnovers. Feuerbach, a big part of that. The steady leader and defensive anchor of this team. Jensen said the younger players, and there are a lot of them, look up to her, not only defensively, but overall. Virginia on the wrong end of a 6-0 run. And Samaya Smith ends that with her championship experience from LSU a couple of years ago. Now defending Stokey in the post. Kick ball on Johnson. These are the first points of the day for Samaya Smith.
These are huge baskets for Samaya Smith. The defense has been leaving her in this tournament, and when she just steps into it without overthinking, she's been huge in knocking it down and burning them for that space.
Coming off a double-double in the overtime win against Georgia, had 23 points, 11 boards. Went to 3 Elite Eights with the LSU Tigers. Trying to extend the Hoos season today. Taps it around and corrals the defensive board, and now Johnson off to the races. Brianna Hurd checking in for the first minutes, and a whistle on Iowa. And a travel on Samaya Smith. Hawkeyes have made 4 of their last 5 field goals after shooting just 28% in the first half. Stolke, good bounce pass. Hyden left it short with a left hand. The ACC's second leading scorer, Kimora Johnson, still in search of her first second half field goal. Gets it back with 10. Kick to the corner, Hurd. Fighting for her own miss. It's Stolke coming away with it, as she's done so much in this tournament. Back-to-back games with at least 10 rebounds. And it'll stay here. Last touch by Virginia. 21 to shoot for Iowa.
Ava Hyden keeps trying to establish that deep position, but she is going up against very strong, big, tall posts for Virginia, and it's been a struggle for her to find the rhythm.
Jan Jensen told us, we faced really good post teams in the Big Ten this year, but none as deep or as versatile, as you mentioned, Roz, as this Hoos team. Stolke draws a foul.
Samaya Smith came down with her hands. In the second half, I haven't seen quite as much discipline and concentration on the game plan of defending without fouling. That is a blatant bringing down of your hands, Samaya Smith. The talking points in practice for Virginia was wall up, hands straight up. Virginia's the #1 team in the nation for shot blocks. Coach Mock said, forget the block. Defend without fouling. It is really tough against this Iowa team that just draws so many fouls.
How much do you think fatigue plays a role in that now for Virginia? They've played in back-to-back uber physical, down-to-the-wire games, including an OT game on Saturday.
I think fatigue is a real thing. I also think rhythm comes from playing all these games. Confidence as well for a team that hasn't been to the tournament in 8 years. And we even asked Coach Mox about that at practice yesterday, and she said, I told my team, there's no time to be tired in March. No time for it. we can be tired mid-April, baby. Let's go.
Kimora Johnson has felt the pressure all day from this Iowa defense. Tries a deep 3 and hits it over the top of Chit Chat Wright, her third.
Well, Chit Chat Wright is a much smaller defender than Kylie was, and that's a difference, an ability for Kimora Johnson to get comfortable there and get a rhythm dribble into that shot.
Double on Hyden by Stremlow, and that's a double dribble.
Technically, Chit Chat Wright is there, but it's vision that suddenly Kimora Johnson has, because Chit Chat is 5'4", and Feuerbach was 6 foot on her defensively.
She now has 98 threes this year. That's a program record. Levy, kick. Hurd off the bounce. Weimer. Hyden fighting for positioning deep on Weimer. It's gotten deeper as the game has gone along. Hyden finding that low block touch. And the sophomore was 16 to lead all scores. Ring zips it down. Hyden through contact. It was last touched by Iowa.
First of all, one of the things that Hyden does is her motor running down the court. What helps her get position is that she beats you to the spot, and then she's using her body and strength to stay low and keep sealing to create the angle for that pass. There's nothing lazy about this big girl's game.
Johnson short. A lot of one-and-done trips for a team that led the ACC in offensive rebounding for much of the year. Average right around 14 per game. Today they just have 3. Big to big. Hyden goes left. Has 18.
Patience from Iowa. The first pass from the wing wasn't there, so they swing to the top to go high-low.
And Weimer draws a foul on Hayden. That's number 3. Picked up 2 quick ones in the first quarter. That's her first of the second half.
The pass wasn't there from the wing. There was a front. So Ava Hayden directs them to get it to the top, where they're great high-low action from Hannah Stuelke to Ava Hayden. It's patience in the offense. It's also the big girl understanding the angles and directing traffic for where she wants it.
With Hayden out, Johnson goes into the paint. Fade away, cannot bank it down, and Fierbach toughly wins that rebound. Shot clock turned off. Right pitch. Houston, Stuelke, yes! To beat the horn and give the Hawkeyes their largest lead of the game as we enter the 4th.
With the shot clock going down, Hannah Stuelke gets low, balance, and finishes at the buzzer.
Welcome back to Iowa City. The library is empty. Everybody's at Carver Hawkeye Arena for the 53rd consecutive sellout. Iowa, 25 third-quarter points after they managed 23 in the entire first half. Matt Schumacher, Roz Golden-Wude. Roz, what changed for the Hawkeyes?
Well, I thought for Virginia first, their defensive concentration, they lost that a bit, and they started to foul while playing defense. That was a huge talking point. For Iowa, it was their defensive intensity, the deflections, the steals that created offense that got them some momentum.
Inside Hayden, feels a body, jump ball, and the possession arrow to Virginia. Speaking of fouls, Virginia still without Samaya Smith and Tabitha Amanze. They begin the 4th quarter on the bench in foul trouble.
Well, Caitlin Weimer in a dang ring, that's 6'5" and 6'4" that just stuffed her up with a huge double team.
Nifty floater by the grad transfer from USF. Romy Levy's had a big tournament for the Hoos. Hayden, deep touch, short with the left hand. It's Levy with a rebound.
How many teams can say you've got 2 starter bigs on the bench, and then you've got another 2 that are 6'4" and 6'5" that can give the other star player trouble?
Levy turns the corner, pops and drops.
Levy's been great here, but the depth of bigs for Virginia is special.
Fierbach goes inside, Hayden with 18. Re-entry, felt the double. Patiently goes to the right hand, and the hook shot is good. A 20-point performance for the all-Big Ten sophomore. Paris Clark cradles, goes up with it, and rims it out. And then crashes in, and a foul on Paris Clark, her first.
And you watch Ava Hayden clearing the space for the guards to go and get that ball. Everybody hustling in.
The offense has come with great difficulty, it feels, Roz, in the second half for Virginia.
Well, the hard part of it is so much of good things for Virginia start with Kamora Johnson. She just really hasn't been able to find a great rhythm in this game.
Just 3 points in the second half on 1 of 5 shooting. Got a game-high 28 in the win over Georgia on Saturday. Stremlo, 3.
You've got to credit the defense of Iowa.
Johnson, step-back triple. And Hannah Stuelke with her 12th rebound of the day. Chit-chat, Hayden, yes! Paris Clark, catch and shoot, rims it down. to momentarily silence this crowd of 15,000. Stolke had it picked off. A dang ring giving the Who's good minutes off the bench due to the foul trouble in the front court. Clark, back-to-back threes.
Paris Clark, her hustle, her tenacity on defense and offensively now, getting the shot. She has been single-handedly trying to spark this Virginia team right now.
And she forces an Iowa timeout. 6-0 run for Paris Clark. Has 11 points. 3 for 3 from downtown. Oh, we are looking forward to that one. I know it's a big guard matchup there in Columbus. We've seen a post matchup here in Iowa City dominated by Ava Hayden.
And Ava Hayden has had her hands full because there's so much depth and diversity of big for University of Virginia bigs. 4 different bigs have guarded her, and when she's one-on-one with them, it's her deep position that she's been able to set up. Or run, Ava, run. Her willingness to beat them down the court has set up a number of plays as well.
16 of her 22 points have come in the second half. She has 35 second half points this weekend, including the first round win over FDU. 10 to shoot. Stolke trying to find Hayden. It's going the other way.
What's really impressive, too, for Ava Hayden, this is a sophomore. Like, this is a player who last season averaged 10 minutes a game. She's up almost 13 points per game from last season. This was a breakout year. And the way she is handling all of these different defensive coverages from players 6'4", 6'5", it's been impressive.
Clark, fadeaway, has made 3 buckets in a row and has a solo 8-0 run for Virginia. Now down 1. Defending Chit-Chat Wright. Different look in Paris Clark's eyes over the last 2 minutes. Hayden kicks, Stremlo 3. And the rebound to Monze playing with 4 fouls. Johnson head up. Gets it to the hot hand. Clark to a curling Levy. Banks it in and out. Chit-Chat Wright. Yes, sir. From downtown. Points for Chit-Chat Wright. Ring steps back. Long with the 3. Levy tracks it down. Shot clock did not reset. Clark tries. And corrals the rebound. Hawkeyes seeking their 3rd trip to the Sweet 16 in the last 4 years. Virginia has not been there since 2000. They have been the darlings of the dance to this point, the last remaining double-digit seed. Picked off by Stremlo. Four-point game under 5 minutes to play. Stolke back out. Wright saved it, picked by Johnson. Boy, that was great transition defense by Feuerbach. Ring, dead away 3. Timeout taken by Iowa. Chit-Chat Wright limping off a little bit. She has been huge in this game. 14 points, 5 rebounds. Iowa with 1 timeout remaining. Winner of our matchup here will get TCU in the Sweet 16. Meanwhile, Oklahoma punched its ticket already and now awaits the winner of South Carolina and USC. Many folks would love to see a Iowa-South Carolina rematch dating back to the Caitlin Clark years. Chit-Chat Wright, the sophomore, trying to propel them there.
Chit-Chat is unrecognizable from that first round game, where Coach Jan Jensen said post-game, I was running plays to her and she wouldn't take the shot. And in this game, she has come out assertive, aggressive, confident. Often she likes to defer, but here she's been taking her shot, which everyone's encouraging her to do. And defensively also making plays. She's just fully in rhythm.
Stolke in rhythm. Off the window. Three-time All-Big Ten senior trying to will Iowa to the next weekend of the big dance. Levy catch and shoot. Short with the three. Rebound Clark and a fresh 20. Johnson through the double, as she has seen all day. Draws contact and a foul on Iowa, just their first. And the second on Feuerbach.
Kamora Johnson has been under duress since the first four games. You know, there might be fatigue setting in too. The fact that she has literally seen the biggest, strongest defenders and crowds since the start of this tournament play here in Iowa City.
And played 45 minutes on Saturday in the OT win. Just 3 points in the second half for Johnson. Levy left open. Cans a three.
What a penetrating pitch from Kamora Johnson. Under duress, three defenders converge. She finds Levy for three.
Right back into the game after receiving the Theragun and a snack on the Iowa sideline. 3 minutes to play in Iowa City. And a kick ball. Boy, you couldn't hear the whistles in here. It'll stay with Iowa.
Kamora Johnson off the bounce with her head up. Three defenders converge. And she is able to kick it out to a wide open Romy Levy, ready to make that play.
Another double-digit scoring performance for Romy Levy. Had 14 in the win against Georgia on Saturday. Hayden off the back iron. Last touch by the Hoos. It'll stay here. Fresh 20 underneath for the Hawkeyes.
There's a number of plays where Hayden is recognizing she's one-on-one and she's going straight up when that happens.
Stremlow calling out the offense. Lob pass picked off by Amanze. Heady play with 4 fouls.
Well, the defense was there. They forced that in.
Johnson 3 for the tie. Bang! 57 apiece. Right, probing. Hayden kicks. Stremlow 3. Stolke fighting for it, but it's Paris Clark, the senior, trying to keep her career alive. 90 seconds to play. And Coach Mox finally gets the timeout she's been calling for. And the Hoos have 2 remaining. What a gutsy shot by Kamora Johnson. How many times have we said that, Roz, throughout this tournament?
I am impressed with her composure. It has not been a pretty game from Kamora Johnson. That is a very rare moment where she was open for a shot, having to work really hard for it, coming around a screen. and she just stays with it. As soon as she gets a little bit of light in this entire run in the tournament for Virginia, she has been able to make something positive happen. And you know what? This is a kid that I spoke to yesterday at practice who talked about wanting to be challenged. That's why she came to Virginia. She knew it would not be easy. She knew that it was an uphill battle to return them the glory. She wanted to be part of rebuilding something with Coach Mox from the ground up, not an established program. Plus, she's from Virginia. Like, she's not afraid of the challenge.
Grew up 2 miles away from this program that her mother so adored. In fact, she was a ball girl for many years for the Lady Who's program. But when Coach Mox took over, they were not even on Kimora's radar. She was a McDonald's All-American, had her Final 5. Coach Mox told us it took her 2 months, Roz, to convince Kimora to even come on campus. And then months after that to get her to come on a visit. But she committed on her visit and was the first McDonald's All-American to do so out of high school since 2009. And now has them 90 seconds away from their first trip to the Sweet 16 since 2000.
She believed in Coach Mox. Coach Mox told us Kimora Johnson committed on nothing. Coach Mox's staff hadn't even coached a game yet at Virginia. And that was enough. Kimora Johnson believed her, and together they are literally executing the vision.
Virginia seeking its first lead of the 4th quarter. Out of the Coach Mox timeout, it's Johnson. 10 to shoot. Johnson off the bounce. Smith with 3. Back to Johnson. Step back 3. Blocked by Feuerbach. And a shot clock violation.
I tell you what, the box score won't tell the story on the importance of the impact of defense from Kylie Feuerbach. She has worked her tail off to make this game hard for Kimora Johnson. It is a worthy battle of respect, both sides.
6-0 run for Virginia over the last 2 minutes. Approaching a minute to play. Winner to the Sweet 16 to take on TCU. Stolke blocked by Amanze. Playing with those 4 fouls and having a career day in the NCAA tournament.
Amanze staying with her hands up, using her feet to beat Stolke to the spot. Defense without fouling there, really critical because she's been in foul trouble. That inside hand helps her too.
Neither team in foul trouble here with less than a minute to play in the 4th. Tied at 57. Almost picked by Paris Clark.
I'll tell you what,
stay with Iowa.
Virginia would not be back in this game without the efforts of Paris Clark. She has just been undeniable with her hustle and heart on display.
13 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, and a steal for the senior from the Bronx. Wright with 10 to shoot. Off the bounce, Wright off balance. Smith tracks it down, falls, and draws a foul on Iowa. And if that's on Ava Hayden, that is her 4th, and indeed it is.
Now, Matt, remember, this is a young Iowa team. 3 of the players on the court right now are sophomores. You know, this is a team that there was a lot of learning and growth that had to happen this season for Iowa. Players who emerged, who are still learning who they are on these types of big stages. So right now, like, yeah, Iowa's the 2 seed, and they're the program that's, you know, been to the Final Four a whole bunch of years here now, but it's a different roster, and these are players who are figuring it out for themselves right now.
9 freshmen and sophomores for Iowa, the most since the 2012-13 season. Meanwhile, in the Virginia huddle, with a couple of returning vets, including Kimora Johnson, they will get the ball across half court after the Coach Mox timeout. Where are you going here if you're UVA?
Oh, the way they will always go. They're going to put the ball in the hands of Kimora Johnson and trust their star to make a good decision. But guess what? Because she has struggled in this game, other players have had to step up. Her teammates are in rhythm. So they've got to be ready to be a threat, and she's not afraid to pass the ball.
Winner will get TCU in the Sweet 16. 42.8 to go, tied at 57. Each team with a timeout left. Johnson with the basketball. pounded by Feuerbach. 10 to shoot. Johnson kicks. Smith lost it, picked up by Hayden. A timeout left for Iowa if they want it. Shot clock turned off, and the timeout comes from Jan Jensen with 9.8 remaining.
Outstanding defense from Iowa. Kept the ball in front, made Virginia dribble the air out of it. Everybody scrambling to beat people to a spot. Virginia could barely go north and south. And look at them, they're just east and west, hanging out outside the three-point line. Absolutely busting up everything they want to do, scrambling, rotating, being on a screen, and then finally their length and activity force a turnover. This is a defensive stop, huge.
16 turnovers forced by the Iowa defense. Now, on the other side of the floor, the Hawkeyes have gone nearly 4 minutes without a point. Jan Jensen burning her final timeout. They will get it with 9.8. Where are you going if you're Iowa?
I think they're looking inside. I mean, you're looking at Ava Hayden, but you also know you have a seasoned veteran who has made good plays all game in Hannah Stuelke. I love also having the ball in the hands of Chit-Chat Wright in this situation because she's been playing so confidently all game. But one thing I will say down the stretch, these are young players. There are 3 key players here who are sophomores on the court. They have certainly played outside of that, but endgame execution, this is a huge high-pressure moment for them to do it in.
And if you're Virginia, you've got 3 fouls to give. Do you think about giving some of those as a little bit of time wears down to shrink the clock for Iowa?
And if you do go with the foul, it ups the pressure, right? It starts to make the game a little bit tight, takes the rhythm out of it.
They did add 0.6 of a second back to the game clock after going to the monitor. So it'll be Iowa basketball, side out, no timeouts left for the Hawkeyes, 1 for Virginia.
Look at the leadership.
Johnson.
Yapper in that huddle, letting everybody know what's going on, what's happening. This is a very confident leader in general for them.
Top of your screen there, you can see Jan Jensen calling for timeout. They whistled for it at 10.4. And so Kylie Feuerbach, who's been part of a couple of Final Four runs, will take it out for the Hawkeyes. Winner to the Sweet 16. 10 seconds to go. Wright with 5. Wright with 3. Wright for the win! And we're going to overtime in Iowa City. Unbelievable finish, and only fitting that we get 5 more minutes. The Virginia defense standing tall to force OT. Winner to the Sweet 16. This was the final possession of regulation. Roz, it felt like Iowa wasn't really sure where to go, and then Chit-Chat Wright sees the clock and has to force a shot.
Well, I think the defense of Romy Levy makes it hard because she's 6'3". Chit-Chat thinks she's got the open look at Ava Hayden, but it's hard to make the entry pass in with, you've got Romy Levy kind of sagging back a little bit, so you've got to be ready to take your shot if that's the case.
If you're Virginia, this is now the 2nd overtime game in as many games. They're 3-1 this year in OT. They've played a ridiculous amount of minutes coming from the first 4 with a win over ASU that also came down to the final seconds.
It comes down to Coach Mox telling her team again, look, in March, you can't be tired. You can't be tired. You've got to want this.
They erased a 9-point deficit in the 4th quarter. And it's Iowa winning the tip in overtime. Hawkeyes seeking their 3rd trip to the Sweet 16 in the last 4 years. Who's trying to get there for the first time since 2000? Inside to Hayden, and a deep post touch results in 2. A game-high 24. Lob into Amanze, lost it, and it traveled. Amaka Agugwa Hamilton, what a historic run for the Virginia Cavaliers through this tournament. Just a couple of days ago, became just the second First Four team ever to win their first round game. Hoping her team has just a little bit juice left to take down the 2 seed. Last 10 seed remaining. Hayden knows. Stokey draws a foul and will go to the line for 2 shots. And Amanze may have just fouled out.
One thing I am seeing Virginia having gone away from is double teaming against Ava Hayden. And I think a lot of that has to do with the foul trouble that their posts are in. They can no longer attack that because they've been coming down and fouling her. So Ava's looked very comfortable against one-on-one defensive coverage. She's been able to get it deep and been able to size up and get her shot off.
Tabitha Amanze, huge. The transfer from Princeton will foul out with 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 points, and a great defensive effort on Hayden despite the 24 points for the first team all Big Ten post for the Hawkeyes.
It's a huge loss for Virginia because she's one of their strongest posts as well. She was one of the posts that was really able to try and fight against the positioning of Ava Hayden. The rest of the posts are long and tall, but not quite having the same mix of strength and mobility.
If you are joining us looking for Notre Dame, Ohio State, that has begun over on ESPN2. We have a review of the monitor. We'll step aside and be right back after this. Back in Iowa City, our officials still at the monitor reviewing this last play in which Tabitha Amanze fouled out but took an elbow to the nose. Appeared incidental from Hannah Stolke, but resulted in blood pouring from the nose from Amanze. Took her a few minutes to get up off the floor, and they continue to review a potential upgrade of the foul. A potential upgrade, rather, on a foul that was not called on Stolke. The foul, of course, was on Amanze. Stolke, at the moment, is going to the line for 2 shots. And it looks like we have come to a decision. We will hear about that decision momentarily. In the meantime, TCU handled business in the Fort Worth sub-regional, taking down 6 seed Washington, advancing to the Sweet 16. They await the winner of 10 seed Virginia, 2 seed Iowa. Virginia, the last double-digit seed standing, seeking their first trip to the Sweet 16 since 2000.
And the road started with the first 4 games, and all of these games have been physical and down to the wire. So this huge break in the game, this time during overtime, is actually favoring Virginia, in my opinion, because they can breathe. They can rest right now. They need it.
They have played so many tight games. How good has this sub-regional been in Iowa City? It started with Virginia's 2-point win over ASU in the first 4 on Thursday night. An overtime win on Saturday against Georgia. A 2-point game with 5 minutes left for Iowa against 15 seed FDU, escaping what would have been a historic deficit for the Knights. And now another overtime game to determine who will punch its ticket to the Sweet 16.
It's a nice time to be a fan in Iowa City watching basketball, or 2 broadcasters calling a game.
Now the officials are going to get these coaches together here, presumably to discuss the ruling after a lengthy review of the monitor. Again, no foul was called on the floor on Hannah Stolke. It was Amanze who picked up her 5th and then went to the bench with a bloody nose after an apparent incidental elbow to the nose.
Oh, what a disruption to the momentum of the game for these teams. I can't stress enough how important the rest might be for a Virginia team who could be gasping air or feeling fatigue or just physically to regroup mentally and physically right now.
Sorting it out at the scores table. No official word has been given to us yet.
After the review, White will shoot 2 shots for the common foul. Then the unobserved is being upgraded to a flagrant 1. Anyone from Virginia will shoot 2 shots, and it'll be Virginia's ball.
So they do upgrade the unobserved elbow to the nose, sending Amanze to the floor. First 2 shots for Stokey. Rims out the first. What a huge call here. Not only gives Stokey 3 fouls, but it gives Virginia 2 shots at the line. A chance to tie the game after a pair of misses by Stokey. This was the play that got upgraded to a flagrant 1. Johnson, a top 5 free throw shooter in the ACC, knocks down the first. Tied at 59. This was the elbow on closer observation. This officiating crew deciding to upgrade it to a flagrant 1. We're tied at 59, and Virginia gets the ball. Under 4 minutes to go in OT.
That should have been momentum Iowa. Amanze fouls out, and you've got the ball under the rim. And now Virginia ties it up and got the ball back. I mean, what a shift and everything that happened out of that sequence.
And that long layoff, too, of play sort of took the juice out of the building a little bit. Stokey finds Hayden short. And now Johnson with the basketball. Team high 16 points for the number 2 scorer in the ACC behind Hannah Hidalgo. If you're looking for that Notre Dame game, by the way, they're playing Ohio State over on ESPN2. We'll get you there at the conclusion of our game. Meanwhile, another whistle on Iowa. And that is the 3rd on Kylie Feuerbach.
And right now, overzealous on the screen. Ends up getting called on the foul.
4 team fouls on Iowa. 1 more Virginia in the bonus. Winner to the Sweet 16. 3 minutes to go. Weimer trying to get it to Clark. Hounded by Chit-Chat Wright. 5 seconds. Clark, shimmy, turnaround, buries it. 15 points for the senior.
Paris Clark has been the difference. She has filled the gap for Virginia.
Feuerbach almost picked by Johnson. She wants a review here. Rolling on the floor, last touch by Virginia.
A lot of confidence in this play because Kamora Johnson is being face guarded by Feuerbach. So Paris Clark decides, I've got to take this shot. And she's got a height advantage on Chit-Chat Wright to get that shot off.
Coaching staff could not quite look at the iPad quickly enough for Coach Mox to make the challenge. Results in a miss anyway for Iowa. Back the other way, it's Johnson. And she resets with 20 to shoot. Turning the corner on Feuerbach. Floater, banks it down. Kamora Johnson with 18 to lead all Hoos. Hayden left her defender on the floor. Weimer wanted a whistle. Easiest 2 that Hayden's gotten all weekend. 26 for the sophomore. Johnson into the chest of Feuerbach, blocked, got it on the seat of her pants, scooped by Stremlow. Up ahead, Feuerbach, 3-on-2, bounce pass, Stokey, yes! Tied at 63. Timeout, Virginia.
The defense goes down. Hayden is wide open inside. This is Mike and Drill, makes the layup. But check out the defense from Feuerbach. To the spot, she beats her. And then with the athleticism for the block, creating offense out of defense, and then on the run, the heads up pass to split the defense. Hannah Stuelke with the finish. Feuerbach has been incredible in this game defensively with her tenacity, all these blue-collar effort plays. She told me that was her role in this game, to make a blue-collar play. That's how she can impact it. She's been doing exactly that.
7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks and a steal, and excellent defense on one of the top scorers in the country in Kimora Johnson. Iowa has been here so often. Feuerbach part of a couple of those deep runs in March. This is a younger team, though, than they've had in recent years. And for Virginia, trying to keep the magical run alive. One timeout left for both teams and an offensive foul. Back to the Hawkeyes.
A couple of unforced errors here for Virginia now on offense. Concentration. Got to lock in. Weimer trying to set the screen here. Ref's going to say it's not set. But it also, Feuerbach makes it hard on them because she's just moving. You know, it's hard to set a screen on someone who is so active.
60 seconds to go, tied at 63. Virginia with fouls to give. Feuerbach. Not a chance to give Iowa the lead. Stuelke goes down, remains down. Numbers for Virginia. Smith, kick out, Levy for the lead. And Stuelke runs back down the floor, hobbled for the rebound.
From the floor to the rebound. Now that is senior leadership.
4-second differential between game and shot clock, and Jan Jensen calls her final timeout. What effort and toughness by the senior from Cedar Rapids.
And she's clearly shaken up. I mean, she gets on the floor trying to draw this charge, but she also looks like she got hit down there. Recognizing the play is done, gets up, hustles down, stays with it. She's clearly in pain and in discomfort. Eye on the board and gets the rebound.
They may end up looking at this for a potential unobserved to be upgraded.
Absolutely.
Which we've already seen once.
Could be seeing it twice, and this time it might go in Stuelke's favor because it went against it. This is somebody who is playing in her final game at this arena. A kid who's a local Cedar Rapids native. And I asked her about how would she feel in here, and she said, I'm just focused on doing whatever it takes to get our team the win. But on the way out, I'm going to be emotional.
So this is what they're reviewing right there. Potential forearm from Samaya Smith.
The play at approximately 48 seconds is under review for a possible unobserved.
It's a very similar play to the last one.
Basketball play, but anytime it's something above the shoulders, there's contact, you see a player hit the floor, it's going to get reviewed at the next timeout. And this could potentially lead to 2 foul shots plus the ball for Iowa.
Hannah Stuelke has been everywhere, sacrificing her body, getting on the glass, playing defense. This player has 14 rebounds in the game, Matt. 5 assists. She's got 12 points on 6 for 9 shooting. She's been super efficient. Every bucket she's gotten has been high impact. And it's not like they're running a ton of plays for Hannah Stuelke. She's just out there grinding through the game, making great basketball plays. She has been huge for Iowa.
Back-to-back double-doubles for the senior. You talked about the toughness. It's something that Caitlin Clark always praised her for. During those runs to the Final Fours when Hannah wasn't necessarily the star, but a younger player that just found her way onto the floor because of her ability to do all the little things for this team.
Yeah, in some ways, it's Hannah Stuelke, it's Kylie Feuerbach, it's Taylor McCabe, who's out with an ACL, but that senior group that is kind of bridging a gap of generations of Iowa players. And someone like Hannah Stuelke remembers what it was like to play alongside Caitlin Clark. She told me, sometimes I think about Caitlin's confidence. sometimes she thinks about Kate Martin's leadership and tries to communicate that or bring that to these young players of Iowa who are trying to build their own legacy within the program.
Awaiting official word after this review on the unobserved foul, potentially being upgraded after the forearm by Samaya Smith. Got tangled up with Stolke going for a rebound. Could potentially lead to 2 free throws for Iowa plus the ball.
What a weird overtime this has been, with 2 long stops of similar plays. Momentum shifts, energy shifts, but also a break for both of these teams who are playing so hard.
And based on the body language of Coach Mox, it's not going her way.
Oh, the face, we already know the call. You saw it right there in Coach Mox's face.
No timeouts left for Iowa. 1 for Virginia, who is in the bonus for the remaining 21.4. Here comes the announcement in the arena, I believe. By the way, if you're tuning in looking for Notre Dame, Ohio State, it's over on ESPN2. We'll get you right there at the conclusion of our game.
Review, we are upgrading the unobserved on red 5. Anyone from white can shoot 2 shots, and they will get the ball at half court.
And the fact that anyone can shoot for Iowa is huge, because remember, Stolke, just a 58% foul shooter, missed her last 2. And that's Coach Mox.
We all know that face.
The call, but they're going to send Chit Chat right to the line. An 85% foul shooter for Iowa has yet to attempt a free throw today.
She's been quiet.
Away. They also added additional time. It went from 21.4 to 22.1.
This overtime has been so impacted by calls and waits and reviews.
And remember, the shot clock is now turned off. Iowa with a 1-point lead. Virginia with fouls to give. And they will send right to the line.
Now, Chit Chat Wright is a great free throw shooter, and she has played admirably throughout this game. But you'll remember at the end of regulation, a little bit of indecisiveness from her. And then now in overtime, been a little bit quiet. So every time she steps to the line, the moment is really big for a sophomore who's in a completely new role of a lot more responsibility here since transferring to Iowa.
Even if Wright makes both, it's still a 1-possession game, and Virginia can advance the ball with a timeout. Both teams in the bonus. No timeouts left for Iowa. You have to box out if there's a miss here. Wright makes it, and Mox calls the timeout. So the Cavaliers will get the ball across half court with 18.5. That is plenty of time for Coach Mox's team to run pretty much any set they might have in the playbook, no?
Absolutely. I think you still are going to Kamora Johnson, who is your go-to all season long. But keep in mind how incredible, how confident Paris Clark has been in this game. Like, you've got a few options of players who can be ready depending on what the defense gives.
Winner to the Sweet 16 to take on TCU. Jan Jensen has been there 5 times with this program as an assistant. Now in her 2nd year as the head coach, replacing the legendary Lisa Bluter. Virginia has not been since 2000. Nobody on this Who's roster was even born the last time Virginia went to the Sweet 16. Down to 18.5 to go. No timeouts left. Here's Johnson, defended by Fierbach. Drives. Banks it down. We're tied at 65. No timeouts left for Iowa. Shot clock turned off. 12 to go for Chit-Chat Wright. 6 seconds. Wright. Stremlo. Rims it out. Rebound. Hayden did not get it off. And we're going to a second overtime. How did that not go down for Stremlo? In and out. And we're going to double OT for a trip to the Sweet 16.
Penetrate, kick out, Stremlo absolutely ready for the shot. And it just rims out.
Taylor, we're going to try to get it out to Columbus before halftime. But Johnson is saying no. This young woman has not subbed out of the game, Roz, and she just tied the game at 65 to send us to double OT.
It's a tough shot. It's highly skilled. She pulls up before getting too deep in the paint where the defense is trying to meet her. Her floater game is lovely there, but to me what stands out is the heart. She's got great heart. There's players who would have been all messed up in the head, out of rhythm with the way that the rhythm of the game has gone for her, but she just stays with it. It has not been pretty or perfect, but she's coming up with huge play after huge play.
Ooh, Samaya Smith writhing in pain. She hit the deck trying to win the tip. And you could hear the pop of her elbow from our table courtside. And now the training staff is out for Virginia. Great concern here on the Virginia bench as Samaya Smith is being tended to. We will step aside and be right back after this in Iowa City. Back in Iowa City, good to see Samaya Smith, one of the leaders on this Who's team, back on the bench being tended to. She did walk off under her own power. This Virginia team has been fighting all tournament long and frankly all season long. This was Coach Mox after their OT win on Saturday against Georgia.
And everybody counted us out.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Everybody counted us out. And we didn't care because we know. We know. Right? Go ahead, what is it? We know. Hey. We know. We know. We know.
I asked Coach Mox, Coach, what do you know? What does the team know? She said, we know the work, we know the grind, the adversity we've seen, the sacrifices, how talented we are. And I asked Kimora, what do you know? And she says, we know what we're capable of. And a lot of people, they underestimated us. That's why 628,000 brackets were busted yesterday because they don't know. They don't know us. I was like, ooh.
Weimer could not save it. Well defended by the sophomore Ava Hayden.
But I love that Kimora Johnson knew exactly how many people, how many brackets were made that picked against Virginia, and they busted them, and that's been their theme all season. We know.
Tied at 65. 4:30 and change to go in double OT to send a winner to the Sweet 16. Right three. Johnson the rebound, wants to run. Has played back-to-back games of 40-plus minutes for Virginia in their second overtime game of the tournament. Levy turnaround jumper's good.
She's just been quietly just doing whatever the team needs. She's a heartbeat for them.
The ninth multi-overtime game of the NCAA tournament. Wright brings it out. Stokey wins it back. Stremlo ties it at 67.
Stremlo only had 3 points in the game right there. Just a heads up, tough play to move without the ball.
Paris Clark, huge in regulation for Virginia. Big reason why they even made it to this point. Trailing by as many as 9 in the fourth. Johnson, no. Clark, right place, right time. Chance at the three-piece for the senior.
Paris, she has changed the game for Virginia. Paris Clark is the reason why. She's a huge part of it. Like her tenacity, her hustle, her effort on both ends of the court. At one point, Virginia was really down in this game, and Paris Clark was a big piece of them being able to climb their way back into this thing.
Completes the three-point play. Meanwhile, Samaya Smith back onto the floor for Virginia. Such a huge piece with that championship ring she won a couple of years ago at LSU. Three-point lead for Virginia. Seeking their first Sweet 16 since 2000. Hayden posting. Stokey driving. Stepped out of bounds by Caitlin Weimer. There's the block in the post by a team that has led the nation in blocks all year.
The defense is set. They're standing and waiting right there. Iowa's got to move the ball more, make the defense shift and rotate. That will help set up the drive.
Three to shoot. Wright's got to get it up. Instead, airmails the pass to Hayden, and it's going back to Virginia. On their feet at Carver Hawkeye, the 53rd consecutive home sellout in this building. Clark thought about it, pulls it back out with 10 to go, turns the corner, bounce pass, Levy lost it, Weimer went up with it, no, 3 seconds, Johnson has to heave, and does she draw a foul? Yes! Right before the horn, and it's of the three-point shooting variety.
Wow, tough foul for Chit-Chat Wright. All you got to do is contest. And just out of this scramble, too, the awareness of the shot clock from Kimora Johnson. Absolutely hunting and draws the foul. And this is just a tough mistake for Chit-Chat Wright again.
The foul is under review to see if it beat the shot clock at the end.
Well, now they will review when the foul was called versus when the shot clock went off. Ball is out. Foul was called. Illegal contact happened before the clock hit 0. It looks like to me, Roz, I think this stands.
I think it stands. The shot is clearly off before the shot clock goes out, and they've called a foul as Chit-Chat Wright gets caught coming from behind and swiping down. Again, though, another thing to point out is the reviews in the overtime. Actually pretty useful for players now that are playing 45 minutes, 47 minutes, 46 minutes. You've got most of this lineup that has been in the game. Kimora Johnson has not subbed out. She's been playing 48 minutes. These long reviews are actually quite helpful.
What a warrior. What a warrior is Johnson and Levy and so many others for Virginia that are playing in their 3rd straight game since Thursday. All of them have come down to the final few possessions. 2 of them have gone to overtime. Meanwhile, Iowa, a fiery and enthusiastic Jan Jensen, did not like the way that last possession ended, both defensively or offensively, trying to regather and refocus her Iowa team. We will hear from Cameron Inouye now.
After the review, the foul stands. 21 Orange is going to shoot 3 shots, and the clock's going to be set to 2:31.
Just a huge sequence for Virginia to win. And for Johnson to get that foul with the shot clock expiring. A near 85% foul shooter this year, knocks down the first. For First miss of the day, was previously 5 for 5. She has been a marathon woman. Makes 2 of 3. 39 minutes plus in 3 straight games for the second leading scorer in the ACC. Then picks the pocket of Chit-Chat Wright. Dribble drive, through contact, backs it down. Largest lead of the overtimes for Virginia.
The Virginia players are smiling. Paris Clark has a smile on her face.
The last double-digit seed standing. Felt like they were playing with house money. Hayden off the mark. Stolke rebound. Left hand won't go. And a whistle. And it is on Iowa.
It is. It's on Hayden.
And that is it.
And she absolutely did it. Yep. First of all, you've got to commend Virginia for the defensive intensity, and then when that ball was inside, they kept their hands straight up. That concentration from the beginning of the game, defending without fouling, and Hayden came in over the backs trying to get that rebound. It absolutely is an offensive foul. Everybody's hands are straight up, and she pushes in the back of Caitlin Weimer. Not a great play, and surprising for Ava Hayden, who understands the time and situation. You've got one foul. You can't be go. You got to let that one go. Stay on the court. It's double overtime. Again, sophomore.
Back-to-back games with 26 for Hayden. We'll watch the final 158 from the bench. 76-67. One timeout for Iowa remaining. Stolke, the senior, sent out of bounds by Weimer, but a whistle. And that is the 4th on the grad transfer from NC State.
Where Caitlin Weimer is going to be at fault is bringing her hands down. She's got a significant size advantage. Just wall up, stay high. Again, the message to this team at practice in Virginia, who's #1 in the nation in shot blocks, was forget the block. Hands straight up.
Stolke, just a 58% free throw shooter, was previously 0 for 4. Misses the second. Clark the rebound. Tied up by Stolke, and Iowa wins it back.
I got to tell you, Matt, that offensive foul from Ava Hayden, pushing in the back for an offensive rebound, just a real mental lapse. There's a ton of time left in this game, and Iowa is without their top scorer and their #1 go-to player and force in the paint.
Streblow. Baseline, scoop pass, extra to Feuerbach, 3. Tapped out Stolke. And now 3-on-2 for Virginia. And Clark draws a foul at midcourt. Seemed unnecessary for Iowa, as it will send Virginia back to the line.
And, you know, even though Virginia has all of those newcomers, 8 newcomers, 7 of them transfers, they've got a lot of tournament experience, in that a number of these players have felt this before. And so I feel like you're seeing a poise right now from this Virginia team, a confidence that they can do it.
Paris Clark at the line with 18 points. 3-year starter, bought in to the vision that Amaka Ogugwa-Hamilton brought to this program 4 years ago. Took over a program that won 5 games prior to her arrival in the season before. First 21-win season since 2018. Right, a step-back 3. 2-possession game, 1:21 to go in Iowa City.
Huge response from Chit-Chat Wright. For a second there, it seemed like they were losing her, but right there, that's a big response.
Now Clark draws a foul, and that was intentional from Feuerbach.
There were a number of plays where perhaps you felt was Chit-Chat Wright fading. And right there, huge needed play to keep the hopes of Iowa alive.
And it was Kylie Feuerbach who gave her the foul, and that is the 5th and final for the graduate from Sycamore, Illinois. Potentially playing in her final collegiate game. She'll watch the rest of it from the Iowa bench.
And with her fouled out, that was the best defensive option on Kimora Johnson. Actually, in my opinion, really the real reason for the struggles that Kimora Johnson had to overcome in this game. Her size and just work ethic on defense will be missed for Iowa.
7-point game. Right. Logo three. Left it short. Scooped out Smith. Tie up, deal. Virginia ball.
There's a lot of time in the game left. I do like aggressive and confident play from Chit Chat Wright, but I also think now the ball quickly goes back in the hands of Virginia. Is there something you can run on offense and make the defense work a little?
Johnson fouled by Stremlo, her second. And the back-to-back all first-team ACC guard going to the line for 2 shots. A reminder, those of you tuning in looking for Notre Dame OSU, I hate to say it, they're almost at halftime. It's over on ESPN2, so you can flip over there and watch that. We'll get it out to their site as soon as we are done here in Iowa City. 80-71. Virginia erased a 9-point fourth-quarter deficit to force overtime. Stolke left open, banks it in. 50.5 left. 1 timeout for each team, both in the bonus. Johnson had it picked. Stremlo, no. Tap out, Stolke wins it back. Deal, 3. Way off the mark. Stolke saves it again. Did not draw iron, 20 to shoot. Deals 3, no. And it's finally ripped down by Samaya Smith. And a whistle comes in. I believe a timeout was called. No, a foul was called first. And Virginia will go to the line again. The effort of Hannah Stolke does not want her career to end today.
Absolutely.
19 rebounds.
Insanity. That stat alone tells you about the aggressiveness and hustle on the court. And that also is in 48 minutes of play.
The door is still open for Iowa. Missing one of their better three-point shooters in Feuerbach on the bench after fouling out. Of course, Hayden, their top scorer, on the bench. She too fouled out. Stremlo, down 8. Step back 3. Long, rebound Levy. Johnson trapped in the corner. Long throw to Smith. Has a run out and wisely winds the time down. Back out Levy. And Iowa will foul with 13.3 to go, and the Hoos can taste it on their bench. Let's take a look at today's Capital One rewarding performance. None other than Kimora Johnson in overtime.
This is through contact with defenders draped on her. She's using her bounce to create the space, to get to the cup, to get feet in the paint. And then nice combos to finish. She has fought through a lot of adversity in this game to lead them in extra time. 14 points in OT for Kimora Johnson. Iowa's season will come to a close. 27 wins. They finished second in the Big Ten. A monster year with so much youth. But this is Virginia's moment. First 4 to Sweet 16. Party like it's Y2K. Their first trip to the Sweet 16 since 2000. The last double-digit seed standing extends their wild season to the second weekend. This team will tell you they knew. They have had confidence, they have worked for this moment, and they showed great togetherness and hard work through this whole run from the first 4. That hug says it all. A McDonald's All-American 3 years ago, bought into the vision when they were a 5-win team, and now they're going to the Sweet 16. Virginia advances as we send you to Notre Dame, Ohio State.